Good evening, pilgrims. I want to talk about vinyl, but I don't want to get into the CD versus vinyl argument. I mean, that's been done and there are so many variables. But I just want to add a couple of things. Firstly, for me, I'm nearly 60 years old. My ears have been battered. Yeah. I've always listened in headphones loud, really loud. I played in bands, in pubs and clubs. I was in a recording studio a lot. Always got the cans really loud, and I've been to obviously a lot of gigs, loud gigs. I mean, in 2009, I saw a band called the Wooden Ships. They're like a San Franciscan psych band, very drony, motoric drums, delayed vocals. It's great if you're in the mood. And it was at the Borderline on Charing Cross Road. Don't look for it; it's not there anymore. And it was loud. We're in there. It's only a small place, and it was loud. And I could see people putting their little headphones in, earphones. And after the gig, everything was distorted and muffled, and I thought that's a bit strange. And I got home, it was the same. I thought tomorrow would be fine. And I got up the next morning, and it was exactly the same. And I've got to be honest, I shit myself. I thought I won't be able to listen to music anymore. My ears were shattered. Over the course of the day, it cleared, but it left me with a slight ringing in my ears, tinnitus. It's there. I can zone it out, but it's there. So now when I go to another gig, any gigs, and I think it's too loud or the sound is not good, I will leave straight away. But yeah, so I think my ears are still pretty good. The hearing itself is good, but you don't know what that's done when you're listening to a vinyl or a CD. Like the other night, I was listening to R.E.M's "Automatic for the People." Now that's the first time I've listened to that album, probably 10 years. I was playing the vinyl and it got to the track "Ignore Land," and I know there's bits going on in that, and I was listening to the vinyl and I couldn't hear them. So I put the CD on and I could hear them. And is it because the vinyl's not a great press and the CD's better, or is that my ears doing that for me? I think, and also with vinyl, I think a lot of people are getting this today. So much new vinyl is so poor. I've received some of the worst records, new records I've ever bought in the last 5 years. Now this one, I'll show you this scratch. I'm not going to tell you what album this is or what label it was, because they're a small label and I don't really want to do that. I should do really, but I don't. Now, that scratch there, I've never seen that. I never got anything like that on an album I bought when I started buying records in the late 70s. Never got that in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and even the beginning of the 2000s. You would not get that. Okay, send it back. This is a record shop and I have to do this. They send me another one, so it's not good for the record shop either. They send me another one. It's the same. Scratch in the same place. Different scratch, but the same sort of scratch. Like you see it on that photograph, and you're like, so I just sent it back, and it's just like, and it gets to the point when you buy a new record, and when you put it on the turntable, you're almost waiting for it to be rubbish, and so it affects the way you listen to it that first time. You're like, is this going to be listen? And it's like, then you kind of think to yourself, what am I doing, listening to music in this way? And then there's the issue of cleaning. A lot of people like to clean their records all the time. I saw one recently, a video on YouTube of a guy who says that all new vinyl has got all these chemicals in it and you need to get rid of them. And he's invented this machine, costs about $1,000, and he's there, he puts the vinyl in, waits for a minute or so, takes it out, gives it a clean, puts it back in the machine, bubble, 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 back out, gives it a clean, and you're like, now get a CD, When you're our age, which he's probably older than me, you're in the sniper's sights. Yeah, you don't know what's going to happen, when the end's going to come. You need to be I want to be listening to music. I don't want to be cleaning my records or sending records back or listening to records and squirming because I'm not sure what state it's going to be in. But yeah, I mean, I know people love their vinyl. I know people will say that CDs are over compressed and vinyl, you can't do that to vinyl, but I don't notice when I'm listening now. CDs, I love CDs, and I don't hear much difference anymore. And to the main point of this video, after my rant, I want to talk about this record, The Pretenders' debut, come out in early 1980. Great record, one of my favourite albums. I remember buying this and seeing this written here: this album has a longer running time than most average LPs, therefore to achieve maximum effect, play this album loud. I didn't understand what does that mean. Just because it's longer, you've got to play it loud. But obviously, as you find out, as you discover, that at 47 minutes long, they had to lower the volume to cut it to one piece of vinyl. Having said that, it still sounds really good, and it's not, I don't hear any inner groove distortion either. Great sounding record. So of course, then I bought this one. Now this cost me £50. I don't normally buy these expensive records, but it's one of my favourite albums, to give it a go. You play it, it's not that much different. It might be a bit, I don't know, it was a bit politer. I think that's one word for it. I thought it was alright. I was a bit disappointed, I've got to be honest. I thought maybe they'd improve it, but I went back to playing my normal vinyl. But then you find out a little while later, it's cut from digital. Mobile Fidelity were pulling the wool over people's eyes, should we say, saying that and it turns out there was a digital stage in the process, but that digital stage was when they took a digital copy from the original master tape and used that to put it through an analog disc, as if that made a difference. So basically this is a digital record for £50. Okay, so you got that. And then you're up against this. Now with these, such a good presentation, I think. 3 CDs. You get the album, which sounds great. You got the B-sides, demos, BBC in session, then another BBC in session at a theatre in London, and a gig in Boston. All that material. Now, that's great for me because I loved the Pretenders as a band during that time. They were a great band. James Honeyman Scott, fantastic guitar player. It was a good period for guitarists that were coming into that kind of new wave kind of thing, new wave scene, if you want. You had Andy Summers with the Police. You had John McGeoch of Magazine, Susie and the Banshees. You had Tom Verlaine and Richard Lloyd of Television, and Robert Quine with Richard Hell and the Voidoids. They were using the guitar in completely fresh ways from what had gone on throughout most of the 70s and the sort of classic rock kind of thing. And when they lost him and he died, they never recovered. In fact, I think in June 1982 they had a meeting and they sacked the bass player Pete Farndon for his drug use. And then 2 days later, James Honeyman Scott died of heart failure after taking drugs. So, and then it was actually a year later that Pete Farndon died himself of drug misuse. But they never recovered. They were a great band, and they made some good records. But nothing as good as this. And the second one. So this was £19 with all that, and they also did it. They also did it with the second one. This was £19 as well. Look at that cover. That's what a band should look like. Yeah, reminds me of the Stones' first album, also The Angry Young Them, with nothing, that great picture and nothing written there. But this is the same. You get the album and demos, rarities, and live stuff. Yeah. So you get. So what is it then? So do you go for these two, £38, or do you go for that for 50? I know where I'm going. You know, like I said, I know people like their vinyl and they say, you know, CDs are over compressed and they can't do that with vinyl. That's why vinyl's got a better dynamic range. But now I think they sound great, them CDs. And with vinyl the way it is, you know, I will buy vinyl. I'll always will. But with things like that, I'm always gonna go that way, down the CD route. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. See you next time.